All right, let's jump right into it. Our Delta Force operator overview. We've been digging deep into the top communities, trying to understand what makes certain operators tick, how to get the most out of them in different situations.
Yeah, the operator system, it can be a bit of a puzzle. Lots of different opinions on it, for sure. But the truth is, knowing the right operator for your playstyle, it can be a huge advantage.
Absolutely. I mean, especially when you're first starting out, it can be so overwhelming. So many choices. Where do you even begin, right? So we wanted to break it down, help players find those operators that consistently rise to the top.
Right. Cut through the noise a bit. So today we're diving into those operators that are basically must-haves. The ones you see dominating across multiple modes. I'm talking about Stinger, DeWolf, Luna, and Hacklaw.
And the cool thing is,
Oh wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
I just wanted to know overall which is the best operator for solo play if you're not in a squad.
okay, that's a great question. So if you're rolling solo, you definitely want someone who can handle a variety of situations.
Yeah, it's less about team synergy and more about self-sufficiency when you're on your own. And we can definitely dive into that.
So while we were planning to get into all of the details, I think we can adjust our plan just a little and focus more on the solo play aspect of things.
Right. We were going to go through all of the operators, but knowing what you're interested in will help us customize this for you.
Okay, so for solo, I'd say Stinger is still a really strong contender, that self-healing is a lifesaver when you don't have a squad to rely on.
Absolutely. You don't have teammates watching your back, so staying alive becomes even more crucial. The smokes are also good for creating cover on your own.
Right, and it's not just about surviving. You want to be able to push objective too, and those smokes help you with that too.
Exactly. You can use those smokes to make a quick escape or to push a capture point solo. It's a very versatile tool.
And what about DeWolf if you're playing solo? Is his speed still worth it?
Absolutely. That mobility is invaluable whether you're in a squad or not. Being able to move quickly, especially on your own, can help you avoid getting caught in a bad spot.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to take an objective all by yourself, his speed will help you get in and out quickly.
And that tactical slide is really good for dodging enemy fire. It's harder to hit you if you keep moving like that.
Okay, so we've got the self-healing of Stinger and the speed of DeWolf, but what about intel? Do you need that for solo play?
Definitely. Luna's reconnaissance abilities become even more crucial when you're solo.
Yeah, knowing where the enemy is without anyone else to scout for you is a huge deal.
Exactly. You're your own eyes and ears out there, and Luna's abilities give you that extra bit of information that can save your life.
So, can you give me a one-all definitive answer on who is actually the best operator for solo play rather than being non-committal?
Okay, that's a fair point. It sounds like you want a straight answer.
Yeah, we've been talking about how they're all good, but maybe we've been too wishy-washy.
So if you want a single best operator for solo play overall, I'd lean towards Stinger.
Yeah, you really can't go wrong with that self-heal and those smoke screens.
What's fascinating here is that he is effective no matter what mode or situation you find yourself in when playing solo.
Right, and that consistency is key. If you're not in a squad, you're on your own, so you need someone who can always help.
Exactly. While DeWolf's mobility and Luna's recon are valuable, Stinger's ability to stay alive is the most crucial in solo play.
Yeah, and he's adaptable, no matter the game mode. That healing and those smokes will always be useful, which makes him really reliable.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about maximizing your survivability and minimizing your reliance on others.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So Stinger, it is.
But let's not dismiss the others. They still have their value depending on your preference and the situation.
Yeah, it's not like DeWolf and Luna are bad. They just aren't as consistently helpful as Stinger is when you're playing solo.
View of what each of the operators are best at and when to use them.
Okay, that's a great idea. A quick rundown of each operator and their best use cases.
Yeah, a little cheat sheet for when you're jumping into a match. That makes perfect sense.
So let's start with Stinger. He's the king of solo, right, with his self-healing abilities.
Right, you can use his Hive-Tech Pistol to heal yourself or your allies, but it's mostly for solo play.
And the smoke is great for blocking enemy sightlines so you can push objectives by yourself or escape from a bad situation.
Exactly. He's your all-around versatile operator, good for any mode, any situation when you are solo.
Okay, and then there's DeWolf, who's all about speed, right? His exoskeleton lets him move very quickly.
Absolutely. His tactical slide also helps him avoid damage, so use it to get to objectives quickly.
So he's great for flanking enemies and getting in and out of engagements fast, even when you are by yourself.
Yeah, if you like that fast-paced action and you want to be aggressive, he's a good choice for you.
And next up is Luna. She's your recon expert, and her detection arrow is crucial for solo play.
Her wall hacks help you see where the enemies are so you can prepare for them before they see you.
Yeah, and her passive ability to mark enemies is really useful for getting that intel, even when you're solo.
Definitely. If you want to know what's coming and you want to be able to strategize, Luna is your pick.
And finally, Hacklaw. She is the stealth master. Her silent step is great for sneaking around.
And her data knife is great for gathering intel without being seen, so you can plan accordingly.
Right, so if you want to be a sneaky disruptor, then she is the right choice for you.
And while she's not the best for solo play in the sense that she lacks self-healing, she is very useful in a squad.
So we've covered the best scenarios for each operator and when you might want to use each one.
And knowing how the operators work is also key to knowing which operators are good in each mode.
Okay, so if we're talking about King of the Hill, it's really chaotic, right? So Stinger really shines again.
Right. Stinger's healing is super important to keep you in the fight for longer.
Okay, so we're established Stinger's probably the guy that's best to play when you're playing solo. Can you recommend some weapons for him and the other operators?
Okay, that's a great question, and it's good to consider how weapons and operators synergize.
Yeah, we were going to go into the game modes, but it makes perfect sense to talk about weapon loadouts first.
So when you're playing Stinger solo, you want something versatile that can handle multiple scenarios.
I'd say the R93 sniper is a really solid pick for him because it's fast and it's deadly.
That's a good choice, and its speed and lethality are great if you're playing aggressively.
And it's also really useful if you need to hold down a long sight line by yourself.
Exactly. It gives Stinger some offensive power to go with his healing and smelts.
And for DeWolf, that speed means you want to be up close, so an SMG like the MP7 is perfect.
Yeah, the MP7 will let you make the most of his mobility by getting up close to enemies.
Sorry, just going back to Stinger, I really don't think a sniper rifle is the best choice for him. He's going to be up close near the front line where people are going to be dying, so I think an SMG is probably better for him.
Okay, yeah, that's a really interesting point. I can see what you mean.
It's a good call to think about what kind of engagements he'll be in.
So we were thinking that he can pick people off from a distance, but maybe you're right.
It raises an important question about what we think of as versatile. Is it distance or is it close quarters?
Yeah, maybe a sniper's not as versatile in a solo frontline situation.
So if you're thinking about it that way, an SMG could be better for him. You're right.
Okay, so an SMG for Stinger, let's say the MP7, like we mentioned with DeWolf.
Yeah, the MP7 would work really well with his healing and smoke. It would really keep him alive at close range.
All right, so we're switching gears for Stinger. He is now an SMG guy, like DeWolf.
What's fascinating here is how easily we can rethink our assumptions about the best choices for each operator.
Yeah, that really changes things because we were going to say the R93 is good for holding long sight lines.
Exactly, and that's less important if Stinger's going to be in the thick of it.
Okay, so if Stinger has an SMG, what is a good weapon for Luna?
Well, Luna's all about the recon. You want something that will let you pick off enemies once you've spotted them with your wall hacks.
So an assault rifle like the M4 is great for her, it's consistent, and it will give you options.
It's a good all-around weapon that's great at medium-range engagements, perfect for following up on your recon.
And for Hacklaw, because she is a stealth operator, you might want to use a silenced weapon.
Yes.
Just going back to Luna, I'd imagine you could also use a sniper rifle for her as well. Would you recommend again the R93 or is there a better rifle for Luna?
Okay, that's a really good point, and it is worth considering a sniper for Luna as well.
It's interesting how you can really tailor your loadout based on play style.
So we were thinking of that medium-range assault rifle, but you're right, a sniper could also work.
If you're going to be relying on your wall hacks, that will let you line up some great shots at long range.
Yeah, that detection arrow does give you the intel you need to really use a sniper effectively, you know.
Exactly, and if you know where the enemy is before you even see them, the R93 could be a great choice, like you said.
Okay, so we're switching gears again. Maybe the R93 is a better choice for her.
What's fascinating here is that we are going through all of the possibilities and thinking them through.
Okay, so now we have Stinger and DeWolf with the MP7 and Luna with the R93, and that leaves Hacklaw.
Her whole playstyle is to be sneaky, so you definitely want a silent gun to match that.
Her silent step and data knife are all about getting close without being detected, so a silenced weapon is key.
And the silent weapons also benefit her intel gathering, since she will be less likely to be noticed.
Okay, so that gives you some weapon options for each of those operators depending on their strengths.
Are all the options you giving based on a particular game mode, such as attack and defend, or is this just a general all overview?
Okay, that's a really good question, and it's important to clarify that.
Yeah, it sounds like you want to know if these loadouts apply to specific modes or not.
So when we were talking about weapons, those were kind of general recommendations for solo play overall.
Right, we didn't get too deep into specific game modes for weapon choices.
So when we were talking about Stinger, the MP7 is a good all-around choice no matter the mode.
And we think the R93 for Luna is great for her recon abilities, but you can use it anywhere.
And for DeWolf, that MP7 is great if you're playing aggressive in any mode.
And the 11 for Hacklaw is good for her sneaky style no matter where she is.
But when we talk about the operators themselves, that changes based on the mode.
Exactly, and we were about to dive into that when you asked this question.
So for attack and defend, if you're defending solo, Stinger's still great.
Yeah, his healing is really important to hold out a bit longer.
And in attack and defend, if you are attacking solo, then DeWolf's speed is good to get in fast.
Right, it's helpful to move quickly, grab the objective, and get out.
Okay, well in warfare, the attackers only have limited lives, so if you're attacking by yourself, then self-healing is essential. Again, Stinger.
Yeah, Stinger's self-heal might be the difference between winning and losing if you're attacking by yourself in warfare mode.
And that speed that DeWolf brings is still essential for getting into positions quickly.
You can use that speed whether you're attacking or defending if you're playing solo.
All right, so we have gone through all of the different modes, keeping in mind that you are playing solo.
So we've covered all the major highlights from those top operators, focusing on their solo play aspects.
So again, while it's not just about the operator, the best for solo play is probably Stinger overall, but the others can really shine too.
Yeah, whether you end up choosing Stinger, DeWolf, or Luna, focus on their unique abilities and try to adapt them for your own playstyle.
And remember to experiment and adapt. Find out what works best for you.
Well said. Hopefully that gives you a better idea of the best operators and weapons for solo play.
Yeah, so try it out and let us know who you get to master. And thanks for listening.
See you next time!